Welcome to our next lesson of the day. That is area of semicircles. We want to see how we can find the area of semicircles. Remember, a semicircle is a half of a circle, and on the screen we have a question, and the question is find the area of the semicircle below the semicircle is there. It has a diameter of 14. I believe in the previous lesson you looked at how to find area of a circle, and the formula used was pi r squared. That was a circle, a full circle. Now today we have just a half of a circle. Then what will the formula be? That takes us to a half pi r squared, whereby r is standing for our radius. But when you look at this question, we have the diameter. What does that mean? Anyway, let's first have the formula written. That is a half pi r squared. That is a half times pi times r times r. That r is standing for our radius, but 14 is a diameter. So we need first of all to get the radius, which is going to be 14 centimeters divided by 2, and there we have 7 centimeters. We can now go ahead and substitute, which is a half times 20 out of 7 times 7 centimeters times 7 centimeters. And let's divide that. 2 divided by 2 is going to give us 1. Then 22 divided by 2 is giving us 11. So you go ahead and divide 7 by 7. It's giving us 1, and 7 divided by 7 it will also give us 1. At the end, we are having 1 times 11 times 1 centimeter times 7 centimeters. And the product of all those numbers will be 77 square centimeters. Let's go to question 2. Work out the area of the figure below. This time the semicircle is upside down. That still makes the radius to be, that makes the radius to be the same, the diameter still to be the same. But for this case, our semicircle is upside down. That longest line is passing through the center. That is our diameter. But remember, the formula is a half times pi times r squared. But we are having our diameter as 30. So we need to divide 30 by 2 so that we get the radius. So from there, we shall substitute it as a half times 3.14 times 15 decimeters times 15 decimeters. We are using 3.14 because 30 or 15 is not a multiple of 7. At the same time, we have a choice to pick whatever value of pi we are to use. But according to this, the best value of pi to be used is 3.14, simply because our diameter or our radius is not a multiple of 7 for that matter, for this question. So that takes us to a half times 314 out of 100. We have written this, or I've given you this as a common fraction. Then times 225 square decimeters, because 15 times 15 is gives us 225. So we can divide. By 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Then for 314 divided by 2 is going to give us 157. Now, if you look at that work practically, we have now 1 times 157 times 225 out of 100. That's how it will be. 225 can be divided by 5. Even 100 can be divided by 5. But it is simpler to multiply the numerators, then you engage the denominator of 100 later, or you bring it later. So let's see how you can multiply that. 225 times 157. Take your time and make that side work very well, because when a number is big like that, we expect you to multiply where? Someone who is going through your work can see that this person did not use any other gadget apart from the basic operations or the basic operation numbers that were given to him or her. So now we're going to multiply 7 by 5. See, 7 times 5 is giving us, it gives us 35. But we shall write 5. We have written 5, and what I've regrouped is 3. Now I'm having 7, this 7 here, times this 2. 7 times 2 gives 14. Now 14 plus 3 that I had regrouped will take us to 17. Since it takes us to 17, still I'll write 7 and regroup 1. I still have these 200s. So I need to multiply 7 by 2, which is still 14. Now 14, I had regrouped 1. So it is 14 plus the 1 which I had regrouped to give us 15. So 225 times 7 is giving us 1575. That is on the side of ones. Let's go to the next number, which is 5 on the side of tens. So we're going to multiply this 5 by that 5, and whatever we're going to write will be put under the place value of tens here. So 5 times 5 is giving us 25. We have written 5, and I've regrouped 2. Now I need to multiply 5 by 2. This 5 by the upper 2 you see there, which gives me 10. But remember, I had regrouped 2, and 10 plus 2 is giving us 12. So at this very point, I'm going to write 2, and I regroup 1. Now I have 5 times 2, and 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 1 that I regrouped to give us that 11. So we are done with the side of tens. Now let's go to the side of hundreds. Now I'm supposed to multiply this 1 by 5. And the answer I'll get should be written under these hundreds as I move towards thousands and the rest. So 1 times 5 is 5. Then this 1 times this 2 is going to give me 2, and lastly 1 times 2 is giving me 2. So I've multiplied all the 3 numbers. I need now to add. We need to add 5 plus nothing is giving me 5. Then 7 plus 5 is 12. 12, I need to write 2, and I regroup 1. Now I'm having 5 plus 2, which is 7, plus 5, which takes us to 12. But remember, I had regrouped 1, so that one should be added to give us 13. But still I'll write 3 and regroup 1 forward. Now I have 1 plus 1 plus 1. That is 3 plus 2 to give us 5. So there I have 5, and finally I have 1 plus 2, that gives 3. So the product of 157 and 225 is 13,325. So that takes us to sorry, it is not 13, it is 35,325. Now that takes us to 35,325 square decimeters out of 100. So what will our answer be? We have handled this several times. So our answer is going to be 353.25 square decimeters. So that is the answer for our second question. Now let's look at the last question. Remember the first two questions you have been having only and only diameter. In the third question, which the question has not come but the diagram has already come, don't worry. If you look at that diagram very well, what we are having is 21 meters, which is our radius. So this time we have the radius of the semicircle. The question will come later, but the diagram is already in place. So since we are finding area of semicircles, then you can easily tell that our question is find the area of the semicircle below or shown on the board, on the whiteboard, as you can see. So how do we handle that? The formula still remains the same: a half times pi r squared, and for this case our radius is a multiple of 7, so we can use 22 out of 7, which is now a half times 22 out of 7 times 21 meters and 21 meters. Let's divide. 2 divided by 2 is giving me 1. 22 divided by 2 gives me 11. Then 7 divided by 7 is 1. Then 21 divided by 7 gives us 3. In other words, we have 3 sevens in 21. So our area will be 1 times 11 times 3 meters times 21 meters, which still gives us, first of all, 11 times 3 is 33. So it's like having 33 meters times 21, which gives us 693 square meters. So that marks the end of the lesson of today. I wish you the best. Download the activities and answer them. Thank you.